Live on Instagram, we're live on Facebook. Probably lagging a bit on Facebook, but welcome guys. This is a special episode, special live, new moon in Aquarius with the legendary Aquarian himself, Michael Moon. Brother, happy to have you here, man, on this auspicious time.
Yeah.
Perfectly timely.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, this is a long time coming. I think we had an actual interview on the first season that I've done of Connecting the Dots. For the sort of original listeners and and audience, you guys would know, and anyone who knows me knows Michael Moon. I'm a big fan, and I'm a student. I call you teacher. When it comes to astrology, I describe it as like I can teach you up to grade 3, but like you're like university for real. And yeah,
and here we are in the Aquarius new moon, and I really wanted to just share a little short live snippet before we go into the official podcast, which will be coming. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, March 21st.
This is to pave the way because right now the energy's hot. And a lot of people are freaking out. Some people are excited, but there's a lot of tension. And there's a reason for that. Yeah, it's like...
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting tension because it's a cool Aquarian tension. So it's...
weird Aquarian.
It's pressure. Don't forget Aquarius. It's like this cool, futuristic, awesome sign. Like most signs get misunderstood in various ways. You know, poor Scorpios and Virgos get like misunderstood in often a negative way. Aquarius often gets misunderstood in this positive, like glorious. The age of Aquarius. Is
Donnie Nunn, the age of Aquarius. It's so glorifying.
But it's got its own stuff, and it's a fixed air sign. That air fixed. I mean, air is
right.
The intellect, the mind, and it's fixed. It's
the idea of it being
highly focused, concentrated energy. It's like electrical energy, like lightning in a bottle.
Right, because it's not just air. Aquarius is like the ether, is the quintessential.
It's fixed air. So in the Western system, we have the 4 elements, and in astrology, that wheel is the 3 qualities: the initiatory, the cardinal, fixed, mutable, initiatory, fixed, solid, and then dissolving. Brahma,
I never
Vishnu,
heard
Shiva.
That. Dissolving instead of mutable. I like that word. Yeah.
So,
Brahma, can you just say that one more time?
Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva.
Yeah.
Shiva is the dissolving. Brahma is the creator,
destroyer, creator, sustainer.
The sustainer.
Yes.
So each cross quarter. So my last live was about Imbolc a few days ago, and I mentioned in that this would be Lunar Imbolc. And what Imbolc is the peak Aquarian air energy of the season. So the astrological wheel is like a clock, and we're in the hour of Aquarius, the month of Aquarius.
Right, the heart, the essence.
So this is peak winter in the north. And so we have this energy of fixed air, Imbolc. And when I mean that Imbolc is, I won't get too much into this because you can look at my last Instagram.
But yeah, like a little bit more on Imbolc. People haven't heard that.
Yeah, so we don't know that term. What we know is Groundhog Day. And so the groundhog sees its shadow and goes in, or it doesn't see its shadow and we get an early spring. Well, the shadow, it's related to the sun. And so Imbolc is the festival of fire, and it's the inner creativity. So the peak summer is the externalized sharing of that creative spirit.
Right.
Peak winter is the internal essence. If you think of it's the pre-spring energy, so we've passed through the darkest of winter,
right?
And at this time of year, it's obvious the light's returning. The days are obviously longer for the first time. Even if you're not paying attention, you start to go, oh wow, it's brighter out.
Yeah.
We're still in winter, but there's more solar energy, and that starts to awaken deep within the seeds of the earth, the stirrings of new life. It's not going to come out yet till the spring, where it's bursting, and then in the peak fall and peak middle of Taurus, that's when you get like the full blossoming.
And Easter, which is where we celebrate now the glory or the victory of the light over the dark.
Yeah, it's somewhat different. That's more Aryan energy. The Aries, like the bursting forth. But the peak winter is like that stirring deep within, that creative energy, that creative fire. And so that is moving through this season. That's what Aquarius is, basically. And so that Aquarius energy is like this focused air. And so the focused intellect, it's often associated with genius. Why? Simply because it's out of the box. It is the energy that sees things from a different perspective. So, and it's also the energy of community. So in the winter, we get together in community.
Right.
And we survive with community. Like humans wouldn't survive a winter without each other. Very hard. So, and within when we're connected, and then we share ideas. But to move
resources
beyond Capricorn's stable traditional ideas, Aquarius has new ideas. That new creative intellectual energy, that spark of something new. So that's what this time of year is about. And it's important as a backdrop to what's happening, because we have this stirring. And when I mentioned, so the solar imbolc is the middle of Aquarius. Lunar imbolc will be whenever the sun and moon come together in Aquarius. Lunar, I won't get into the whole lunar cycle, but basically you can just think about it simply. The sun and the moon are both in Aquarius now, which means peak Aquarius is extra strong, because you have all this Aquarian alignment. And we so happen on this new moon, we have this Pluto that has just entered Aquarius, which we will talk in the podcast a lot more about. Yeah. But we'll touch upon it at this moment because it's very important. There's this huge undercurrent of Aquarian energy pushing through, and this is kind of like its birth canal moment.
Right.
It's it's been happening now since the Jupiter Saturn alignment at 0 Aquarius, end of 2020. And this whole period of tumultuous, crazy, uncomfortable change where we just don't know what the ground we stand on is about anymore. And we're all feeling that in various ways. And anybody that's getting touched by these transits personally, meaning they have something at 0 degrees Aquarius or around the middle of the fixed signs, so the Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, are all getting pressurized right now with this new energy. And I'll talk a bit more about what that is in a moment, but so when it gets personal, then you really feel it in your life. But in general, our society is going through a massive birthing into a new air elemental energy.
Quality of energy.
It's very pop culture-ish to call it the age of Aquarius. It's not technically what we're thinking of as the age of Aquarius, because that's technically a different cycle. But you can certainly call it an age of Aquarius versus the age of Aquarius, because we've had the Jupiter-Saturn alignment 2020 started a whole new 200-year cycle in Aquarius air. Now we have Pluto moving into Aquarius for the next 20 years. That's bringing that whole Aquarian focus.
And Pluto is like coming like from the depths, like we said it's like Hades, it's the lord of the underworld.
So it takes so long to go through the whole cycle. And if you want to have a quality of what Pluto in Aquarius is bringing, all we have to do is look at the United States of America right now. Because it's going through its Pluto return.
Return. Because it was birthed in 1776 in this same alignment.
250 years ago.
So so rebirth.
Depending on the chart that you use for Aquarius, for the States, it's either Pluto's at the very last degrees of Capricorn or the very first of Aquarius. The American Revolution happened during Pluto entering Aquarius.
And which is bringing in the future, which was the future superpower. Exactly. It was the future dream of the Western progressive world. And
so, and we'll talk a lot more about that on the podcast.
Yes, we'll go more in depth. We're just kind of giving you a little bit of a here and now, because that's going to come out on the 21st of March. Like, that's going to come out with a whole bunch of
and that
episodes.
We're looking.
We want to know.
We're looking 20 years into the future, 200 years into the future, and 2 years into the future.
Interesting. 222.
In terms of what I'll be focusing on in that podcast.
Wicked.
But
amazing. I can't
right
wait.
now we're looking 2 days into the future, this new moon, and then the coming year, because one of the interesting things about this new moon, Lunar Imbolc, is it happens to be New Year's Day in the Asian culture.
Calendar, yes.
And we are entering in their calendar the year of the dragon.
The dragon.
And the wood dragon in particular. Wood. So this is a year of intense growth in terms of the dragon wood energy. Intense growth.
Transformative.
Just growth. Like explosive growth. And we have that mixed with this Aquarian alignment. So the new moon, Aquarius, Pluto's just entered Aquarius, and then we have one by one the personal planets coming in. So we have Mercury has just entered Aquarius. It's lined up with the new moon.
And then is it Venus, you said?
And then we have Mars.
Mars.
And then we have Venus. So Mars and Venus coming
They're
in
just lined
next
up.
week. Just boom, 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 all kind of pushing in.
Yeah.
And so this Mercury, Pluto right now is like this very bright, intense, like a lot of ideas, but also kind of underworldiness. Pluto and Mercury together, it's like going into the underworld. Mercury is not just the mind. If you think in Greek mythology, Mercury is, or
he's Hermes.
He's Hermes.
The wing on
and
his
Hermes
shoe.
Is the one who can. He's the only god that can go to the underworld. And back.
He can go back and forth. Yeah.
And communicate.
The swiftness, right? Like he can almost
the land of the dead to the land of the living, and bring that back and forth. It's the psychopomp, if you will. So Mercury, Pluto, this energy of being able to go to those depths, to see the darkness, to bring it forward, to bring out the unconscious in this bright Aquarian way. Connect new dots, basically.
Connect new dots, exactly, and see and the reflections, how it affects all of us. Because I also hear Mercury as like Hermes as like Gemini and Virgo, Mercury's rulers, right? Yeah. So you have the polarity of Gemini, the outer essence of light, and then the dark. And then you have the Virgoan aspect of it, which is writing it into what? Timelines, live streams, and like all of this kind of stuff that's happening. So
but one missing part of that is Mercury's favorite place to be is...
Where's Mercury's favorite place?
Aquarius.
Okay.
So Aquarius is kind of the natural place for Mercury to be. It's not its ruler, but it's where it's friendly.
It's where it's exalted? Is that what they mean by it's where it's exalted? Yeah, got you.
So it's bringing in a lot of energy of invention, the mind. And this new moon is just particularly important for all of us individually to align with, to be able to connect to whatever ideas are being born and new connections being made, and how we can kind of get new ideas and new ways of doing things that seem to be out of the box. Like personal breakthroughs, things coming out of our unconscious, a good one, old habits breaking. So if you get inspired right now to kind of go, I never realized it before, but I've been kind of really stuck in this area of my life, or I don't really need to do this, eat this food, or do this activity that's sort of been draining my energy. And these kind of ideas pop in, and they're really important to listen to right now, because they can really pave a new path at this time. It can be really open gateways to our own personal new growth of this coming year, this dragon wood year of growth. Right. But also individually, this is the Aquarian magic. is it's all about our individual, unique offering. But unlike Leo, which is all about, here's my individual, unique offering, it's like I'm sharing it with the community, and everybody is sharing equally their unique offering. And then as it happens, it all comes together and transforms the whole of humanity, the whole. And this is a high ideal, but the best way we can shift the world in general, but especially right now, is aligning with our own unique kind of,
uniqueness.
And we just letting it come through, and this is a really good year and a really good moment to seed that.
Right. Just real quick about the uniqueness and the polarity of Leo, like you said, not in the way like, hey, look at me, I'm original, which is like the Leo in its kind of vice, but like the Leo Aquarian, which I often make reference to, the balance. Leo Aquarian would be, look at us, we're all so unique, we don't need to compete, we just need to come together, create, collaborate, elevate, you know what I mean, like dance, look at it, it's like this is what we're here to do. And Aquarius got me a tambourine. So yeah, we can look forward to many I guess festivities, these types of energies, like what, like whether it's physically on Earth or I don't know, is it collaborative?
Like every sign has its polar opposite, and you can't separate the two. So Leo needs Aquarius. Leo can't shine unless it's being its unique self, whereas Leo's shadow is just always wants to shine and will alter itself in order to be liked.
Yes.
Aquarius is just like, I don't want to fucking deal with all that shit.
Yeah.
I just want to be myself, and I don't really want to shine. It's just about everyone else.
I don't need to be
so
seen.
It needs Leo.
Need to be me.
It needs Leo to come out.
Yes,
so there you are, dragging me out.
There you are, exactly. We brought him out from his Scorpio moon rock. Because who better than Michael Moon to talk about the Aquarian new moon, bro? Like, talk to us here, man. Talk to us more about the houses. Isn't there like something about like Pluto affecting everyone differently based on their houses?
Yes, I mean, and that really is individual. So you can do a whole talk on, okay, Pluto going through this house, blah, blah, but that's not touching upon, well, how is that house working for that person? And what's the ruler of that house in their chart doing? And so it's going to be very different effects for every unique person. But
that's why you have to book a reading with them and get that like specifically done
if you want
according to your natal chart, which is literally as unique to you as your fingerprint. It's the flash photograph of the solar system when you were born. A lot of people don't even know what this thing natal chart is. That's why I just want to intervene. Like, I know a lot of my audience, people, my friends, you guys know. I've been talking about this for a long time, but the natal chart, like if you don't know yet that there's, based on the moment you were born, so much more to be said about you. And your predispositions, your assets, your liabilities, your vices, your virtues, and all that, then find out, like get versed in this, because this is the time now to really align now with your destiny.
Yeah. So, like if you were born right now, you would have the sun and moon in Aquarius. You would have.
So you'd be a double Aquarian, basically. If
you'd have Mercury in Aquarius as well.
And Mercury.
And you would have Mars and Venus in Capricorn. But in a few days, you'll have Mars, Venus, Sun, Mercury in Aquarius. But the moon will have left. And it will be somewhere else.
Right. Which is a big part of you.
Constantly changing, right?
Yes,
it's just the idea of how it's constantly changing. Yet, in specific magic moments, like birth, which is the most magical, you've gone from being one with everything, one with the mother, one with not an individual, to I am an individual in the 3D reality, and this is where our solar system that we are inside was at. And it's
how they interacted, all these planetary, which we depicted as gods and goddesses who had particular personalities, which will affect your personal reality, your personality, right?
I don't think it affects our personal reality. It just mirrors our soul's essence. It comes in at that moment, and it is imprinted. It kind of is. That's where our soul's at, and that's where the lessons that we're learning, the kind of journey that our soul needs to be on, is kind of, it starts in that moment, and it's somehow, I can't tell you how, but it's amazing. Like after thousands of readings, It's amazing how it works.
Thousands of readings. That's incredible.
Many thousands.
I can't imagine. I've only been into this now astrological journey of mine as a student of it since when I met you through way back in 2008. No, even further. I think
Well, anyway, I just want to finish idea of.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I can't imagine how many charts I've looked at, and then I look at you. Again, university, grade 3 when it comes to astrology, but university. So if you guys want to get a reading for real. This is the guy. This is definitely the guy. I have to plug that because really, man, you're a little bit too humble and modest sometimes, typical Aquarian. But this guy is brilliant, man. The things that even just today earlier we were sitting down having a bite. Shout outs to Ping. That bread and those shortbread cookies were insane. Oh my God, thank you. But yeah, this stuff is so accurate. You come in and you just have this intuitive understanding, and oh my God, it's been such a guide.
Yeah, it's amazing. I feel humbled by it as it comes through, and I just look at this chart. It's a map of the sky when you're born. It just basically says you are here, and all this, it just unfolds. You can see the whole life patterns and the whole life path, and what the soul's learning and why certain things are happening at certain times.
Totally, man.
But to get back to this time, because this is a special time for all of us. Especially again if it touches your unique chart, which is where this came from, and it's touching my chart, so it's a very key moment for me to even be sharing with you. As a personal example of astrology working, its magic. Last year when Pluto first entered Aquarius, boom! That day I have Mercury at 0 degrees Aquarius, so as soon as it enters Aquarius, it hits my Mercury, my communication, etc. And I find out my Facebook's been hacked, and I'm completely unplugged from my social media because Facebook was the only one I was using, and I was doing all these astrology talks through live Facebook streams.
Mercury
gone,
and Pluto right there.
Death, bang.
Of the social realm, media realm, technological realm of intercommunication. Interesting.
And now it's come right back to that position again, and here we are. Plugging back in a different way, sharing in an Aquarian kind of way.
Totally. The rebirth. I'm sure that was painful, and this is just part of the growing pains of...
And there was a lot more to it than that, but that's a simple example.
Yeah. What are the takeaways before we because we're going to jump into podcasts in a second, but what are the takeaways for people right now that you can the 3 golden nuggets or something?
I'd like people this weekend to really tune into their life and the pressures upon them right now and the discomfort, and to see what is wanting to change, and to not worry about how that's going to change or what it is, but to just tune in to it and be aware of it and see if any awareness comes up, any insights, or you get any insights from hearing this or some other thing that comes in and just lands some interesting new thing that can open up a new path. And that can be the moment's ripe for this newness and for new channels to open up, and to trust that, and to trust that even though it can feel very intense at this time, there's a reason for it. And it's a very potent new moon and new year, and we will get into why in the podcast.
For sure.
One other thing I will quickly mention at this time, and I'll mention more in the podcast, is in the next few months as Jupiter comes together with Uranus and Taurus, it squares Aquarius, but that Jupiter-Uranus cycle often is aligned with genius. If you look back at history, many of the big works of art were created during Jupiter-Uranus moments.
Are you talking about Renaissance kind of period?
No, it happens here,
more cyclically.
Much more cyclically, but it's just it's a burst of new inventional energy, whether it's art or science, and so that happening along with all this Aquarius and Pluto coming in creates a real birth of something new, which is going to continue over the next couple of years in a very profound way.
So
I'll leave it at that. We'll talk about that in the podcast.
Amazing. So all the IP lawyers, get ready. There's going to be an insurge of business. All these new ideas are going to have to be patented and protected.
It's probably already happening behind the scenes.
It is.
Yeah.
It's happening.
These things have already been
happening. It feels so good. It's happening. It's happening. That's my mantra. So good. What's happening? What's happening? It feels so good. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for always being tapped in and sharing that intuitively. And yeah, I'm excited to jump on this podcast.
All right.
And get this going. So yeah, here we go.
Peace out.
Much love. Namaste kala.
Amazing.
Beautiful.